Hello and welcome along to WD18, the Watford fan channel with myself, Jacob Culshaw, Sam Ucko, Charlie Zazzera, back again on a Sunday. We're not live this time, apologies. We just wanted to make sure we got one done because we're all over the place at the minute. Sam, Charlie were there yesterday. I wasn't. I was at Millwall on Monday. The guys wasn't. So hopefully we'll give a full picture of where Watford are at this moment in time under Paulo Pezzolano because that is a big talking point at the minute. Sam, brought to you in partnership with Hertfordshire Mind on today's episode. How are you at the moment?
I'm good. I'm good, Jacob. Thank you. Things have been busy at the moment, particularly on the work front. I always find that sort of towards the start of the football season, things are always ramping up, as I'm sure both of you know as well, being in the game. I'm all good, and I was looking forward to watching a spirited and improved Watford performance yesterday. But despite the win, I felt I was slightly let down on that front, which we'll get into later on in the video.
Who let you down, Sam?
Who let me down? Well, we'll come on to it, but I think it's the man in the tracksuit in the dugout.
The suspense. Charlie, on this fine Sunday morning, how's things? How's life?
All good. One, I'm a bit disappointed that you're not in lederhosen.
Hold that thought.
You're just going to rock up with a... Nice.
Oh, he's fully got one.
Nice.
I've got the shirt as well.
World class.
I should give context. I'm in Munich at the minute. I'm not in Watford. So, that's not my normal attire, is all I'll say. But yeah, it's a nice city. Have you lads been before?
I think I have, but I don't know if it was just like a passing visit. I can't remember too much, but
yeah,
Germany's always good. So it looks like you watched a good game on Sunday. And what I wanted to ask, I don't know if you guys are watching any, or you probably not because you're busy, but you caught any of the Ryder Cup this weekend?
Oh, all over it, Charlie.
So good.
So good. Is it the nearest sporting event? Is it the nearest sporting event outside of football to have a similar atmosphere? And what I mean by that is that sort of those shouts from the crowds, the edge to the game. It feels there's not many sporting events outside of football that have that edge, but I think the Ryder Cup does have it. I saw Shane Lowry losing it a little bit, Rory obviously giving it back as well.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe darts, but because it's so surprising, golf is like a gentleman's sport, isn't it? So it's like, and obviously we don't want to get too political, but whatever's going on in America and stuff, it feels like it's proper stoked up. And the fact that we're giving them an absolute whooping and they're not taking it, but it should make for some good celebrations today. We should get over the line. But other than football, Sam, I want to ask you, what's your favourite other sport or sporting event?
I'm not a golf man myself, but I have enjoyed seeing the clips going on about with it all kicking off in the last couple of days, which has been interesting. I think I would have to go. I'm torn between two. If we're counting darts, I love darts. I'm a big darts fan. We're coming up, we're 2 months away or so from the World Championships, which is the best time of the year, 2:00. What are the timings of the games, Charlie? It's like 2 till 5, then 7 till 10 or something like that.
Yeah, it starts at like midday, doesn't it, for the first session, and then 7 till, depends how long.
Brilliant, best time of the year. But I'm a big tennis fan as well. I'd say the only sort of Grand Slam I watch as a whole is Wimbledon. And I'm always after Wimbledon, like, I'm going to follow it really closely this year. And then I probably won't watch another Grand Slam in full until the next Wimbledon. But yeah, I mean, generally you can't beat the Olympics, the athletics events for me. I love that. Big fan.
Can't beat it. I would say Wimbledon's up there for me. Wimbledon's definitely up there. And also, I don't know about you lads, I always get around to every year going, I'm going to get on the waiting list, and I never get around to it. I don't know why.
Do you not think tennis is just so repetitive? Back and forth, only so much happens.
I think you support Watford. That's repetitive, isn't it? Rubbish every week.
Yeah, for my sins.
And on that note, I think that's the perfect segue, Sam, going into the last week or so. It has been a week of Watford's, some lows, I guess some highs yesterday with the win, but I think that probably doesn't tell the whole picture of where we are at as Watford fans at the moment. We'll get straight into it, talking about Monday first off. And Sam, when Watford play on a weekend, you kind of look forward to it. I really, really dislike the Monday night kickoffs. You sort of have to see all the other teams play, all the rest of the results. I think it almost puts a little bit more pressure on the Monday night as well, especially if you're seeing a few results which maybe you didn't expect to go a certain way. And we made the trip to South East London to play at the Den against Millwall. Lost in the end 1-0 to a Negley free kick in the 10th minute. And we can break that goal down in just a second. Did that result surprise you, though?
No, not at all. I think it was going to be more surprising if Watford had won, I think, based on what we'd seen against Blackburn the week beforehand. And the Den is always a tough place to go. I know we won there last season, but notoriously, I think we've struggled when almost backs against the walls. I don't think Millwall had won at home at that point so far this season. And I think what we saw, I didn't manage to go, Jacob. I know you did, but I think what we saw was Millwall really saw an opportunity to beat us. They did, and to be honest with you, they didn't really have to get out of first gear, did they? They scored a free kick, which I think should have been saved by Egil Selvik. I'm not really sure what went on there. I do really like Selvik, but I do think, well, it was actually interesting. It's on from the Rookery end when they were reviewing the game. They picked up his error at Portsmouth last season at Portsmouth away, and ever since then, I think a couple of cracks are showing with Selvik, as you have with a lot of Championship goalkeepers. And I don't really want to dig him out because he's kept us in so many games, but I think he needs to be doing better with the goal. And it was good to see him outside the ground yesterday, actually, as well. Hopefully recovering well from the concussion protocol. But no surprise to me that we lost that ultimately. And I think the disappointing thing was that Millwall didn't really have to get out of first gear, as we saw in the first half yesterday as well. Hull went in 1-0 up without really having to do too much.
No, agreed. This was the lineup that Paulo Pezzolano went with. Charlie, the thing for me when looking at the lineup and when Watford fans were on the way to the Den saw that lineup was, wow, there's some big calls in there. It was a back three with foremost Mendy making his full debut for Watford away at the Den. Then Mendy as well in midfield making his full debut. You then had Semedo making his first start. I think it was something like 6 changes in the end, right, to the previous game. So he went pretty big. He went pretty bold, as Petalano is known for, in fairness, from his time at previous clubs. But a lot of Watford fans I spoke to didn't understand the team. Did you?
Absolutely not. These starting lineups that he's picked now are just, as you can see in the thumbnail, they're just baffling. Mendy there you see as the right wing back. I think that was one of the most painful things watching on Monday night, him in space down the right wing. And it's not his fault because he's centre half, but and Millwall were just more than happy to give it to him. And do you know what I mean? I think there were so many different things we could have done there. And yeah, the other Mendy came in. I don't know what you guys thought about him, but very meh for me. Like he started in front of Cipriano yesterday. Kayembe, we know what we can. Sorry, he's been coming on, but Kayembe played yesterday. Max Lane was the biggest positive for me on Monday, but like Sam said, and Semedo got a goal and assist yesterday, so we should praise him, and we'll get into tomorrow's game. But I don't think he got a sniff. And I don't know, Jacob, if you can scroll down there, the biggest thing about this lineup is who's not in it. And when you're seeing these names in terms of Vata, Bar, Kurumgard, especially like Kurumgard, who the club have literally put out and said he was our number one striker target. We're really happy to get him. The fact that he's been dropped for, I think he's been decent. And Semedo hasn't done too much. We'll talk about Semedo's performance, but just bizarre. And even if you look closer at those times, the guys are coming on really, really late in the game and they've just got absolutely no chance to make an impact. Vata coming on for 2 minutes it's a bit insulting, really, but Kayembe coming on the earliest. Sissoko came on the earliest yesterday before those guys as well. So really confusing, baffling selections from Petalano.
Yeah, agreed. Just on the game, if we have a little look at the momentum bar, which we'll do for yesterday's game against Hull as well, a game that will not be remembered for a long time, I think, by both sets of fans. It was a terrible quality of football, terrible standard of football, really, for the Championship. But I think you guys summed it up when you said Mill just needed that first home win of the season. They probably won't play an easier game at home. I mean, Watford didn't offer anything. The only chance I can remember was in the second half when there was a sort of ricochet and Stephen Bender in the Millwall goal. I didn't know anything about it, stuck his foot out, could have gone in. Wiley, okay, the rebounded shot, but we were limited to a few efforts outside the box. Loser had one in the first half, Iran Kunda, which obviously led to the Wiley opportunity. But I mean, Sam, for me, being in the away end yesterday, you could really feel the frustration from Watford fans because we weren't creating anything clear cut. And there was a real lack of risk taking, actually. There was a real lack of personality on the ball, quite safe. We were playing in some really weird areas. I mean, there's sometimes, again, I'm all for sort of building up from the back, absolutely. But in that first 20 minutes, let's read the room. Let's not put ourselves under unnecessary pressure. And that's what we did. And that led to the free kick. It's a really sloppy foul from Mendy. On that free kick, by the way, you could actually hear from the away end, Pollock screaming at Selvik saying, let's sort this wall out. Let me move over. And Selvik isn't the loudest keepers, is what I will say. If you're in the away end and you're near to him, he's not the loudest of keepers at all, which is something to note. I think he should do better with it. Iran Kunda in the wall, our smallest player, that needs to be looked at as well. It was just even set pieces, lads. Sorry, Sam, it was supposed to be a question for you, but even set pieces, we're looking at marking Jake Cooper and we've got some of our smallest players marking him. It was crazy, really. And that almost suggested to me that hadn't been worked on. I know a lot of people say the players need to work it out on the pitch. I do get that. But with set pieces, every club now has a set piece coach and a set piece specialist. And it just didn't seem like it had been coached. Sam, would you say that's fair? Or is that not fair?
No, I think it is fair. And set pieces this season have been a big concern overall. Up until yesterday, I'm not actually too sure how many goals from open play we've conceded. I think of the Swansea game, and there was one against Southampton as well. But I think we've mainly been conceding goals from set pieces. And overall, I think defensively, Watford have looked better this season. I know yesterday's goal was a really bad one to give away, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, just the set piece defending this season has been so poor, both from corners, from free kicks. We conceded 2 direct free kicks this season. Maybe the Manning one against Southampton. I'm being harsh on Selvik, but I think Selvik will be looking to do better from both. I think when free kicks are that close, almost on the edge of the box, as we saw with both of them, it's really if the wall is right, it is really difficult, firstly, for a player to get it up and down over the wall. And if they do, there's very often not enough pace on it for it to really trouble the goalkeeper. And we saw that was the case with it the other day. There was no pace on that free kick from Negley. Was that his name? Who took it? There was no pace on that free kick. And it looked like very much that for most goalkeepers, that would be a routine save. And I'm really not a fan of digging out Selvik because I really like him. But I just don't really get what happened, what his mindset was with that. The setup of the wall was all wrong. No pace on that free kick from Negley, and he really should have done better with it. So 100% both from corners, set pieces, although yesterday it was better. Yeah, been a big concern this season for me overall.
On a wider point, Charlie, just before we move on to yesterday, because I don't want to dwell on the trip to the Den too much. In the running order, we had the away and atmosphere. I mentioned it was frustrating, and I think it was frustrated mainly, Charlie, because we're yet to how many games in, and I think we can include yesterday in that as well. We're yet to really see a style of play or patterns of play when we watch this Watford team. I mean, the amount of times we were getting into some half-decent areas, getting into that final thirds, and there was just a lack of really ideas and creativity. There's a different team every single week at the minute. I think Petalano's still finding out his best team. It's hard to build those patterns, right? If we are chopping and changing every week.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone watching might notice like the level of analysis that we've kind of done compared last season compared to this season. And like, if it's been honest, I've just got no enthusiasm to like look into it because I can't see anything at all. Last year, we did see kind of wide fullbacks getting in high. We saw patterns. The only thing I've seen from Petalano, which I've liked, is like unique kickoff routines that we've kind of gone past the first phase, bizarrely. But apart from that, how are you going to get any patterns or any identity, like you said, when you're chopping and changing? And then, so I think the last 2 weeks we've had bizarre lineups. I think at Blackburn and then again at Millwall. So we were thinking, okay, what's going to come next? And then I think yesterday absolutely topped it off. I mean, obviously Selvik went in, so we had Baxter come in. Previously, we had no right back. We had Mendy at right back. Two of our right backs who were injured come straight into the lineup. With Ngakebe playing left back when we got Bowler and Wiley. And I feel like Bowler's been one of our better players, and I feel like he might have had a bad game at Millwall, but I think he's been really hard done by. I think we missed him in the Blackburn game when we had no balance on that one. And then Cipriano getting dropped yesterday.
Why do you think he
that was the one? God, I'm sorry, Charlie, for jumping in here, but how do you look at what happened at Millwall and go, do you know what the problem is? We need to take out Hector Cipriano. That was beyond me, that decision. Like, oh my word, sorry, Charlie.
Why do you, lads, to both of you, why do you think he's doing that?
Well, both of us left speechless here. I mean, yeah.
It feels like, obviously this can't be the reality, but it honestly feels like kind of he's self-sabotaging. Like, he's not stupid. He's talked about the fans' reaction and stuff. But like, Cipriano's been our best player this season by a mile. Mendy's come in. I don't know how old he is. He's an older guy. I didn't think he did much to impress at Millwall. Like, he was just kind of out of the way while Luz and Cipriano were doing all the heavy lifting. He's come in and just, like I said, we've left speechless. I can't give you any justification why Cipriano wouldn't play there. I think, like, I can talk in detail about in the second half, it was obvious that Loser got pushed up. But like, Cipriano could have easily set back. So there's nothing to do with Mendy's. He's not, do you know what I mean? I know Leicester replaced him with replacing N'Golo Kante with him, but let's be frank, he's not N'Golo Kante, is he? So that is just bizarre. And then I thought Ngakebe played well yesterday. I think Petri was a bright spark yesterday. But again, like Semedo, I know he got a goal and assist, and we can give him praise for that. But if he doesn't score, he literally missed from about 2 yards out. He actually underperformed his XG yesterday. Like, and apart from his goal and assist, I didn't think he did much. I don't know if I'm being a bit harsh on the young lad. And the thing I'm disappointed in is that I think Kurumba came on with a minute or like not long to go, 10 minutes to go, and he looked really out of sorts and lost confidence. He had a bit of a moment where he could have got in front of the defender, but he just looked like he lost confidence. And I feel like that's a shame because he's clearly a talented player. So these selections, I don't know, like Sam was in the ground yesterday, like it just feels off.
Sam, did it feel off in the Vicarage Road yesterday?
Yeah, 100%. It felt off. My whole match day routine yesterday. Actually, I'll go from the start here. I was actually in Farnborough yesterday morning for a work thing where and for some reason I was like, you know what, I really want to get back for the game, because it's still, regardless of how Watford are doing, it's one of the best bits of the week, if not the best bit. Seeing your friends and that sort of thing. So I paid 65 quid to get an Uber down from Farnborough to get there in time for the game. An hour and a half car journey, got there 10 minutes before kickoff. And I was looking at it before. If I'd got public transport, I could have very easily got there for just the second half. And in reality, I probably should have just done that. But yeah, I think the entirety of Vicarage Road yesterday, even when the players were walking out, the teams being read out, something was off. I just think you just know. It just felt like a sense of, I don't know the best way of putting it, because it feels like Paulo's a dead man walking, and it felt like everyone was just watching that yesterday, and that anticipation was in the air. And I think that really came to fruition when Watford went 1-0 down. And the first part of the game, there was some bright spots, some positive moments. I think there were a couple of flicks that nearly went in. I think it was either Semedo or Ngakebe combined, and it nearly went all the way in. But when Watford went 1-0 down, and straight away the boos came, the chance of sacked in the morning, which I think we have to talk about, towards Petalano. I think it's clear he's lost the fans. Without doubt, he's lost the fans. I don't think when that's happening so widespread, there's a way back from that, at least at Watford.
Is that, sorry, Sam, just to jump in there on the fans losing patience with Petalano? Obviously, judging by the atmosphere yesterday, there's quite a large majority who are voicing their opinion on that. Why do you think Watford fans have turned so quickly? Because I feel like more often than not, we're quite a patient fan base. I would say the owners aren't. But as a fan base, we do give managers time. But what have the Watford fans seen in the 6-7 games, including the Carabao Cup against Norwich, seen that they've gone, you know what? Nah, not for me.
Yeah, but I think there's two things for it, and in credit to Pezzolano, he spoke about this in his post-match yesterday. It's the culture ultimately that has now seeped its way completely into the fan base. That a few bad results and automatically the manager's going to be under pressure from both the boardroom and the fans now, because it's what we've been used to over the last however long it's been, 10 to 15 years under the Pozzo reign. And Paulo's going to know that he's under severe pressure now, and he most probably saved his job yesterday, at least for another game. So I think there's that element to it. But I think the other element is that we were told in the summer, look, we don't think Tom Cleverley is our guy to get us up. We're going to bring in this guy, Paulo Pezzolano, who is, I might be paraphrasing here again, but a promotion specialist, I think were the words used. And we have seen absolutely nowhere near anything to suggest that we are going to be close to promotion. And to be honest with you, I haven't seen much to suggest that we're not going to be in a relegation battle under Paulo Pezzolano. To be honest with you, we're a bottom 5 side in the league. I'm not sure where that win's taken us yesterday, but if things continue under Paulo, then we are going to, I think, be in a relegation battle, to be honest with you. Nowhere near a promotion side. And he can't say he hasn't been backed. The issue is ultimately the appointment from Pozzo has been wrong again. But this time around, the manager has been backed, and he's not using the tools that's been given to him. He's not using Kieran God. He dropped Cipriani for some reason yesterday. Quadro Bar, who does look like he's going to be injured now potentially for a couple of weeks after damaging his arm. The lack of using him was, again, astonishing, I think. Rocco Vata, one of our brightest talents we saw so many times last season, has hardly had a look in so far this season. It's all absolutely bizarre. And all of that, while still persisting with the likes of Sissoko, the likes of Kayembe, have just been infuriating is the wrong word, actually, because I think we're a bit numb to it nowadays as Watford fans. But yeah, I just don't really see a way back for him now. What I would say is that I think it was at Valladolid where, there we go, Jacob, you've taught me my best pronunciations there as well. With
know what? Jump in there, Sam. There's a couple of Spanish guys on this trip. And apparently the correct pronunciation is Valladolid. Wow. And it's really hard. It's really hard. He spent about 5 minutes trying to teach me it. But what I was going to say, Sam, just to jump in, it's unbelievable. You just dropped that in. Yeah. I just got this article from when he got promoted with Valladolid. And their Valladolid fans were basically calling for his resignation, Petalano. And they went to the town square after they got promoted from Segunda to La Liga. And Petalano on the tour of the city and on the bus started singing Petalano resign after they got promoted. Now, someone did say, can you imagine in May at Watford High Street, he jumps in the pond and starts singing Petalano resign, Petalano out. But Sam, you don't think that's going to happen?
Nah, I don't think so, to be honest with you. I mean, I think he saved his job for now, but it wouldn't shock me tomorrow morning if we, or even today, if we still got his sacking, to be honest with you, based on the fans turning and what we saw in that first half. My big thing, sorry, I know I'm ranting here and I'm just going off on all sorts of tangents here, is that it just seems on all the points we've picked up this season, maybe with the exception of QPR, actually, where I think in the first half we were good collectively, we're just seeing players bail us out at individual moments and rather than a collective team performance as a whole. Obviously, we saw Aaron Kunda with a free kick at Swansea and against Southampton to bail him out. I think yesterday was the Imran Loser show, wasn't it? I think Loser really stepped up in that second half and saved Pezzolano's job for him. But I don't think we've seen anything by way of, a team who are anywhere near promotion caliber, top 6 caliber, top half caliber. So, yeah, big concerns for me.
Charlie, what were your takeaways from the performance yesterday against Hull? Because whilst it was a win, it did feel like Watford fans were half glass empty on what they saw.
Yeah, it's football's funny. Like if you look at the stats and like not watch the game, that looks like a decent performance from Watford. If you look at the momentum bar, a highest XG of the season, had plenty of shots. But if you actually, and I wasn't there, but watching the game, then we had a good start. But then after that, like just all over the place, no cohesion. Hull should have been 2 or 3 up, I would say. Baxter makes a good save. Ollie McBurney hit the post. And do you know what I mean? That at the end of that first half, they're just coming too like familiar. They're really, really bad. Do you know what I mean? No intensity. Plays in wrong positions with like Matty Pollock on the left, with like Ngakia on the left, both right-footed. Like the balance is off. Loser, Sam, you're right. Loser won us the game yesterday, in my opinion. But even in the first half, I was looking at him and he was being, I thought his body language, he was getting frustrated and it just looked like, it looked a shambles. And then going into that second half, like Loser got forward and I think there was good moments from like Petri and stuff, but I didn't think it was like a well-structured, cohesive, we were building good attacks. I just think it was a bit of a basketball match. And even Hull had some chances they missed. They had a shot wide from, I think it might have been Hughes. They had a header, someone just free in the box, unmarked right towards the end. Like we were, but it was just Loser who had the moments of quality with the finish. He put a great corner in. He put another for Semedo's goal. He put another great corner in for Pollock's header. But in terms of the performance, I thought it was just all over the place. And I just there was a shot yesterday of, I think, what was the first sub? Did Wiley come on first for Ngakia, who's come back from injury? And then Sissoko came on next. And there was a shot of me watching on the screen. And it was Sissoko coming on, Petalano next to him, and Quadro Bar just in the background. Pedro Bar, his face literally was a picture like of what he thought of. Sissoko was coming on before him, Kurumgard, Vata, Kipriano. And yeah, like he got away with it, but I'm just in a position now where even Monday, I've just got no like interest or enthusiasm, and I just can't see, like, Gino's at the training ground now. We know that's where he's located. I think from what I'm seeing of the players, I don't think they're playing for him. I don't think there's much to play for. Like, it's hard to buy into something where you're changing every 2 games. We know there's a communication issue. So it just feels inevitable, really. Which is like, and then you just go into the same habit of like, oh, new manager. Do you know what I mean? It's just the same cycle. So really frustrating because you take a step back and then you look at the players we've got. I thought Irakunda's been really bright in sparks, but that's only been where he's got the ball by himself, dribbled around 3 people, then tried to have a shot from 30 yards. Like, he's not getting in good positions, or the team not playing to his strengths. And Pezzolano has been back, so it looks like it's only going to go one way. And I don't really want to dig Pezzolano out too much. I don't think he's helping himself, but I think we all know whose fault it is, and that's Gino Pozzo in my eyes.
Yeah, definitely. It's a culture issue as well, more than anything else. But what I would say is that, Charlie, I know you said it in passing before, but it's an interesting comment, I think, about sort of our lack of analysis on streams so far this season. And I think you go back let's just look at a sample size of our last 5 managers, where we look at Tom Cleverley, we look at Valerian Ishmael, and even Chris Wilder, Slaven Bilic, Rob Edwards. With all of those, you could roughly at least see what they were trying to do, at least. Some of it was absolutely awful. Some of it sent everyone to sleep. For example, Valerian Ishmael was absolutely awful to watch. Cleverly, it fell off a bit towards in the second half of the season. Under Edwards, it wasn't great at all. And Wilder and Bilic, I think we saw the same thing as well. We could see what they were trying to do, even if it wasn't working, potentially because they didn't have the personnel for it as well, because they weren't backed accordingly. This time around, it has been backed properly, but there's absolutely nothing there. I don't think you could sit here and say anything about, like, if I said to you, how do we play? Or sum up how Watford play in 3 words. We were told at the start of the season, a quote from Pezzolano, it was something like high pressing, aggressive, intensity. Again, I might be plucking those words out of nowhere there, but I think that's what we were sort of sold, wasn't it? There's
Like-
absolutely nothing about that.
Like PSG, what was what we were told. He liked.
Yeah.
That's what we were told. Do you know what, Sam? And when you lads were speaking there, I was trying to think of like what spell as a Wat fan over the last 5-10 years is it most similar to. It really reminds me at the minute of 22-23 when we had Pedro, and Iran Kunda is our Pedro, who is just miles better than everybody else in terms of individual quality. Okay, loser as well, but that one spark in quite a mediocre performances, and it really reminds me of that season. But lads, to be honest, I'm going to flip it and I'll ask you the question. Petalano will be thinking, if he's watching this stream, I don't think he will be, but he'll be watching this stream going, how on earth can you make a full judgment of me after 6-7 games as Watford's head coach? What would you say to him?
Yeah.
Shall I take that? I just think because Sam hit it earlier, and do you think that we've just not seen anything, in my opinion? And I look back at like the videos. The first video we done of the season was reacting to Charlton. The thumbnail was confusing. And, we could have just used that thumbnail for all of the games going forward. It's just madness. It's really strange, like how he's approaching thing, and even these quotes about the culture and stuff. And I find that a bit peculiar because, like, what's Gino thinking about that? Him saying about the culture, like, it's just strange. And it's like, is it an excuse? Him saying, "Oh, we're looking to turn things around." I don't know. Like, I think Sam is a really good point about all the other managers kind of having that bit of a game plan, and you could see, like, we don't even know what formation he's trying. Like, we don't know his best team, like you said, because all the changes all of the time. It's just really uninspiring, and it's just bizarre. It's just bizarre because, like, he has got the tools. And another thing that I think's concerning, and the fact that it could be really worse. When we were losing yesterday, we were 23rd in the table, second from bottom. So we would have been in the relegation zone if it stayed like that. If you look at our fixtures from the first games, who have we had? Charlton, QPR, Swansea, Southampton, Blackburn at home, Millwall away, and yesterday was Hull. Pretty favourable. I don't think any of the current top 6 we've played. Pretty favourable fixtures. So we're coming into a spell now where I think, especially after the international break, where I think we're playing Middlesbrough, Ipswich. I know Sheffield United away the first one after, but those set of fixtures, I think, for the return that we've got, and I think we should be doing a lot better with the squad that we've got. And I was looking at that Millwall game, and I was looking player for player, even with the team that we had out, our players were pound for pound a lot better. And last season, I think we were massively overachieving for the squad we had. This season, I think we're underachieving for the squad we've got.
I guess the question will be then, lads, how does this go? Because you mentioned, Charlie, that we've played teams, bar maybe Southampton, who will be up there coming the end of the season. These are teams that I think will probably be mid-table, if not bottom half. There's definitely tougher tests to come if we look at some of the fixtures coming up. I mean, Portsmouth away won't be easy, but Oxford is a must-win at home. Then Sheffield United away, West Brom, Coventry, Middlesbrough, Ipswich, Bristol City are the next 6. Really, really difficult run for Watford and Petalano. But the question will be is whether he will be in the dugout for those games, Sam. Now, just to get those quotes up from Charlie on the culture, I was the same, lads. When I saw it come through, I thought it was really punchy. But he was asked by Adam Jury, the Watford FC reporter for the Watford Observer. So he said, "I'm pleased the team show character, sacked in the morning chant, shows supporters are passionate, but the fact it happened so early in the season means that element is deeply rooted in the club. We have to change that." Now, I don't think Petalano can change that. The only person who can change that is the owner. So that's pretty much out the window for me. But Sam, to bring it back round, do you think he will be in the dugout beyond the October international break?
No, I don't think he will, to be honest with you. I think that when I think about manager comments about culture, the big one I always think about was a couple of years ago under Chris Wilder. I remember we got absolutely battered by Cardiff at home. I think we lost 3-1, I remember, on a Tuesday night or something. And if you watch it back, there was just Chris Wilder went absolutely in on everything about the club for about 5 minutes. And I remember what was most bizarre about that actually was the club posted it on their channels. If you remember, he was just talking about the general issues within the football club. So whenever I hear culture comments, I always think you're coming towards the end, or the manager knows that he's not going to be there for long, to be honest with you, because you wouldn't call out your employees, so to speak. Like I say, I wouldn't be shocked if we let him go, even after winning yesterday. I think if we'd lost, that definitely would have been it. But I do think he'll probably will be given the Portsmouth game at the very least, and then you'd imagine after that as well, the home game against Oxford next week. But I think irrespective, unless we win both of those games, I think a change will be made. I mean, I'll put it bluntly, and maybe I'm being reactionary over the last week. Here we go, me being reactionary again on here. If we keep Paulo Pezzolano, I think we'll be in a relegation battle.
I don't think Sam's too far off. I think we've got enough quality in the squad that we shouldn't be. And I think there's teams in worse situations. I mean, you look at even Sheffield Wednesday are doing a really good job at the moment, but like their scenario, again, that's for a bad owner. But when I was looking at yesterday, when I was looking at the table when we were losing, I was thinking, how have we gone from the cusp of Europe? Gino Pozzo has kind of taken us now in a relegation battle, potentially. And with the talent that we've had at the club in that time, it's actually staggering how that's been the case. And that's why, like, Petalano has been absolutely baffling to me. And, like, again, I can't be too angry at him. I'm just, like, flabbergasted about how random, how bizarre it is. But it's only one man's fault, and that's Gino Pozzo. He's the one who sacked Tom Cleverley. He's the one that's hired Pezzolano. And I think that's what's really hard for the fans as well. If you remember last game of last season, the scenes, and like, I've been trying to like not go on about like Cleverley and stuff like that, because you have to take things as a separate situation. But the context was last season, the whole of the Rookery, and I think the whole of the stadium was singing his name, and we were all behind that idea, and we knew he wasn't the best coach, but do you know what I mean? The vibes were good, and that we've gone from that until yesterday, where we're singing to our own manager sacked in the morning, and that all comes from the culture that Gino Pozzo sets in. So I'm in a really weird mood. Like yesterday's mood was like I didn't know how to feel.
I put on our group chat, I felt more annoyed after winning.
Yeah, it's just bizarre, isn't it? And it's like, I feel like now we've got Portsmouth coming up. What's that, Wednesday night? And then we've got Oxford. And I hate the whole, Watford have sacked a manager. Let's all talk about it. Let's talk about the pig butcher. We've done that a million times. We know what that is. But it's like, how are we going to save our season, really? And I can't see any other options. It just feels like we either do it now or we wait until the November international break. And I feel like my biggest takeaway from yesterday was those 3 points might help us if we do make a change and we do see, do you know what I mean, a bit of a jump. And I looked at our promotion season in 14-15, and Jokanovic came in on October the 7th. So I don't know. Like, I feel I have no confidence that who they would appoint would be the correct decision. But in the same breath, I'm thinking, God, they've thrown enough proverbials. Something's got to stick soon. And with the squad that we've got, what do you think, Jacob? How are you feeling?
No, I think there's a few things, lads. I'm very much feeling the same as you about the situation. I think on that season, we probably do need a Fulham away sort of performance where it all clicks and it all sort of goes in the right direction. If it was down to me, I would make a change and bring in a manager and use that positivity from that win to kick on. Really, my gut is telling me that particularly the young players, I look at the bench yesterday and the players who were on the bench who were integral parts of last season in Bar, Vata and Wiley. Wiley's come back to fitness, so I'll leave him out of it, but particularly Bar, Vata, Abankwa is another one as well who was on the bench. These are young players who...
And where was Mendy and Doumbia as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions, a lot of questions. But I think what made Watford so exciting and likeable last season was the young players and how dynamic they were. And I look at the bench yesterday, and probably 5 of those players should be starting for me. But on a wider point, I think with Watford at the minute, I think the problem is with Petalano, right? And in fairness to him, this isn't his fault. Is the parameters the club set with the promotion aim, however ridiculous that may seem now, he is being judged against that. So whether we like it or not, if you come out and say that we've employed a promotion specialist, promotion is the aim, not even top 6, by the way, promotion is the aim, he is going to be measured against that regardless. Now, I think the recruitment, in fairness, has probably been one of the best windows we've had in a long time. I think some really exciting young players. Naturally, with young players, you're going to get ups and downs. But I think if you're seeing a clear style of play, or at least there's a vision of how we want to play, you give it a bit more time. The problem is the ceiling has been set there about what they want to achieve this season. We've seen it we saw it with Vladimir Ivic, where they brought in quite a disciplinarian head coach. I'd actually say in a similar mold to Petalano, you then bring in the nice guy in Cisco and it works. They make a change with Slav, who was a bit more hard, but the point is that they made a change and it worked. I think a change is inevitable soon. But I don't think he's helping himself. I think that's probably my biggest thing, lads. I look at the team selections. I still don't think he knows his best team. I don't think he knows his best formation. When he came in, we were told it was a 4-3-3, high press, high aggression, high intensity. What I've seen so far is a back 3 with a midfield that doesn't really have the right balance to it. He would argue, have I got the players for it? But ultimately, he needs to get the best from these players. And I'm yet to see, bar QPR, a good performance from Watford. I thought Millwall was absolutely terrible, lads, to be honest. I thought it was absolutely terrible against a team who had loads of injuries, a team that was there for the taking. And I think Millwall fans had even said it before, that it was there for a team to go there and take the game to them. And then yesterday I'm hearing you lads talk about it and I'm like, it doesn't really seem like it's going in the right direction. My biggest thing is, lads, it feels like the fans have turned. But I just wonder, when you look at those young players and key young players on the bench, whether they are fully bought into what this manager's trying to do, because they had it so good with Cleverley. And if you have it so good with Cleverley, they're going to want exactly the same, if not more, if you're going to bring in someone else. So I think if he's I'm not speculating here, but my gut is telling me that some players probably are not fully bought into what he's trying to do. Now, whether that will, we'll have to wait and see. But I'd be very surprised if he was here beyond October, as you say, Sam.
Yeah, I think just before we wrap up soon, we won the game yesterday, and I do want to talk about some positives as well, because I think that let's try and end on a more positive note generally. I think on the Pezzolano point, I think 2 potential positives I'd say generally in terms of Watford saving their season seems a bit drastic at this point, but it is still the end of September and there's still a long, long way to go in the season. Plenty of time for us to turn it around with the right appointment. When, it's not even if, isn't it? It's when Petalano gets sacked. That change has to be the right one. I'm sure we'll talk about that in the coming weeks. And I think as well that we're not too far off in that respect, because every game so far is being decided by the odd goal. We're either almost winning 2-1 or losing 1-0. And so there's not much in our games in that respect. But in terms of yesterday, positives, I think for me, 3 standouts. I'd say I think Nathan Baxter did well coming into the side yesterday for his first start. A couple of shaky moments, but I think he did well yesterday. I think at right back, Petrie was absolutely excellent, particularly in that second half. So aggressive with his running forward, really positive with his running forward. And of course, Imran Louza as well was absolutely superb. Back to his best in that second half. So some positives yesterday. Diamonds in the rough, if you may. But yeah, just that feeling. The overall vibes aren't there.
Yeah, and just on that, just to sort of wrap up, lads. I wanted to bring up a quote that Scott Duxbury said in the build-up to this season, and he talked about the summer transfer window business when the window closed, and he said, and I think it has been a success. From the moment Paulo was appointed, we wanted to give him the tools to hopefully mount a real challenge in this most demanding of divisions. So the point is that Watford believe that this squad is good enough to compete for promotion. Let's make no bones about it. They've said it. The expectations have been set. And what we're seeing at the minute is not that. And the fact that you lads are saying, I actually see us looking further down the table than I do up the table, says all you need to know. So I think we all know how this ends. And I think when you go back to what you said, Charlie, about Tom Cleverley, I understand there was, we talk about we really like Klebs, but there were fans who wanted him gone as well. Let's be honest. The football, particularly in the second half of the season, was poor, and there's lots of different factors for that. But I saw a lot more encouragement and ambition watching Tom Cleverley's team, even in those first 6 games, than I do with Petalano in those first 6 games. And I was happy to let Cleverley develop as a coach, even though there was sort of shortcomings to him as a football as a manager, and he was developing. We've traded all of that rapport, that chemistry, the way he was developing those young players. Half of them are on the bench yesterday, but we've traded that to get in a promotion specialist. So at the end of the day, for me, it's now win or bust. If we're not going to be winning football matches, and if we're not going to be playing football to the best of our ability, then for me, a change has to be made, because that was the whole point we brought him in. So look, we all know Pozzo isn't patient. We all know how this could potentially end. Charlie, do you want to leave us on any final words, anything positive, or am I bringing the mood down?
No, I think you're being fair. I was just surprised that Sam's just pointing to the positives. I love that.
So you're doing all right, mate.
No, I think it's fair to say, and I think that's one thing that we should be positive about is the players. And I think, like, I saw a few comments online, like the players did kind of, do you know what I mean, pull us out of a hole yesterday, and they did turn up, and they didn't think, oh no, the manager's lost his head again. Let's just throw our toys out the pram. Oh, they did go and they did get the win. Although I did think Hull, they just literally evaporated in that second half. It was bizarre, and I don't know. I did have a look, and I don't like to do this, but I did have a look at some available managers, and there's some good coaches out there.
Give us some names.
Even like, the Spanish guy who we were linked with in the summer, Peremiento.
Okay.
He's still available. I think when I was looking, obviously you've got like Michael Carrick, people like that. I know Danny Roll's a big one. He just does not look like a Pozzo appointment to me in any shape or form. And like there's other names like Palladino, who was at Monzo. He took Monzo up in Serie A last season. There's some really interesting names. There's a Swiss guy who I've seen a few people talk about.
Barami.
No. But I think that's where the link has come from, because Barami's in, I think his name Gerard Sloan, who was Bayer Leverkusen manager. So I don't really like to talk about that, but I'm just trying to find some kind of hope and some kind of excitement to cling on to. But unfortunately, I think we're going to be jumping on one of these videos soon, talking about another sacking, and we'll probably talk about the big picture stuff. But for me, I'm just looking at what can I cling on to, what can I be hopeful about, what can I be excited about. And I think the only point, because Pozzo's made it as such a, let's be frank, a circus, a madhouse. Like, I'm just thinking, can we kind of take any kind of positives for that and just jump on the ride of the madness, and hopefully we end up on some kind of Zola-esque coaster like we did all those years ago when they first came in.
Totally agree. And I think probably I'll end it on a positive note. I do genuinely believe we have some really exciting young players who, if they click, it'd be a really fun season. I'm just yet to see that. We've seen maybe 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. I mean, I've said it a few times today. I look at the team yesterday, 5 of those players are on the bench. So that probably says all you need to know and probably sums up where we are at the moment. Sam, you wanted to finish off?
Predictions for the 2 games in the coming week.
What about your prediction for the most recent one, Sam?
Yes. I'll get up the prediction league quickly and share it with all of you. Jacob, I think you are struggling a little bit.
Enjoyed saying that so much, by the way.
Down towards the bottom.
You're struggling.
Well, as we can see here, me and Charlie are joint top with.
God.
Well, we've all got three correct outcomes so far. Charlie and I have also got a correct score in there. After I got Watford 2, Hull 1 yesterday, with you two, Jacob predicting a defeat and Charlie predicting a draw. But we've got 2 games this week. By the way. we got 2 games this week, and I'm not sure if we'll do a Portsmouth reaction just because of the busy week. Obviously, if Paulo Pezzolano is sacked, then I'm sure we'll jump onto another video. But We'll do the two predictions for this one. Jacob, what are you going for Portsmouth away and Oxford at home?
Ooh, okay. I think we will. Oh goodness!
Should we just Portsmouth? It's kind of tough because.
But do you know what Sam's doing here? He's being tactical because he's thinking, let's just get a couple in, regardless. And then I'll sort of like flow it out there, and then Jake's at the bottom of the table. I think we'll lose at Portsmouth, if I'm honest, because our away record is just horrific.
How much?
So we'll lose. I think we'll lose 1-0.
Nice. Charlie, what are you going for?
I think we'll lose 2-0.
Cool. I'm actually going to agree with Jacob, partly because I agree it'll be another odd goal, but I think it would also mean that Jacob is guaranteed to stay at the bottom of the league if it does end like that.
I knew it.
Are you going, Jacob, on Wednesday?
I'm not. I've actually got a couple of tickets. If you lads wanted them.
I'm all right.
It's a long trip from Manchester to Portsmouth for the Wednesday night.
And Bar might be out of it as well. That would have been really tasty, but we'll see. Look, it's been a sort of different reaction. We sort of tried to sum up the last week following Watford. Apologies, it's a little bit down in the dumps, but look, we always say the good times we go big, the bad times we go big as well. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Most importantly, if you agree, disagree, you take your opinions on what's happening on Watford at this moment in time, on Paulo Pezzolano, and where we're going as a football club this season. Thanks so much to Sam and Charlie and to everyone who watched today on this Sunday episode, even though it's not in the evening. We should be back this time next week talking about Portsmouth, talking about Oxford, and you never know what could happen in between. But thanks so much for watching. Brought to you in partnership with Hertfordshire Mind. If you leave a like on the video, comment down below your thoughts, as I said, subscribe to the channel, follow us on socials at WD18fans, and we will see you in the next one. Take care and up the audits. You odds.